Welcome, 8th graders, to today's Listen. Have you ever watched a friend do something totally out of the blue in the cafeteria? Or maybe wondered why a villain in a movie is so obsessed with their evil plan? Well, today, we're becoming investigators. We're going to put on our detective hats and discover the hidden reasons behind the choices characters make. We are going to unlock the secrets behind their actions.
Here is our agenda for today. We'll be looking at the heart of the story, uncovering the why, stated versus implied motives, navigating mixed motivations, reading people and characters, and we'll wrap up with the godly learner philosophy.
So, let's jump right into section 1, the heart of the story. We're starting with a massive idea here. Absolutely every character in a story makes choices for a very specific reason. In a well-written book, characters just don't do things randomly. Their actions are driven by this sort of invisible engine inside them.
And this perfectly connects to a really profound truth found in Scripture. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us, people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Think about that for a second. We can only observe what people do, right? Their outward behavior. But God sees exactly why they do it. He sees the true motivation. This brilliantly illustrates our job as readers. In literature, just like in real life, we have to look way past the outward actions, those visible choices a character makes. We have to learn to see the inward motives. We need to figure out the heart of the character and the hidden desires driving them. Because when you know what drives a character, you can actually predict their actions and see exactly how their choices are going to shape the entire plot.
Moving right along to section 2, uncovering the why. So, how exactly do we uncover these hidden motives when we sit down to read a book? Obviously, we can't just read minds.
To effectively analyze motivation, you really need to act like a detective. As the plot unfolds, ask yourself these 3 critical questions. Step 1, what does this character want? Step 2, why do they want it? And step 3, what will they do to get it? If you can answer those 3 questions, boom, you have just unlocked the core of the entire story.
But where do you actually find the answers? Well, you hunt for clues carefully planted by the author. First, look at the dialogue. What is the character saying? And honestly, just as importantly, what are they choosing not to say? Then look at the narration. How does the author describe the scene and the character's internal thoughts? Finally, zero in on body language clues. Are their fists clenched under the table? Are they rolling their eyes? Avoiding eye contact? Those physical reactions are massive, massive clues.
All right, section 3, stated versus implied motives. Let's look at how we can take those clues we just found and sort them into different types of motivation.
The first type is stated motivation. Sometimes, an author makes our job incredibly easy by stating the character's motivation right there on the page. There is zero guessing required. The text literally tells you exactly why a character is doing what they're doing.
For example, read this sentence, Maria trained every day because she wanted to win the scholarship. In this scenario, Maria's motivation is clearly and directly stated. Why does she train? She wants to win the scholarship. It is written plainly for all of us to see.
But what do we do when the text doesn't just hand us the answer on a silver platter? Look at this scenario. A teenage boy quietly volunteers at an animal shelter every single weekend. He cleans the cages, he walks the dogs, but he never actually says why he's doing it. So, what's his motivation?
This is where we have to do the heavy lifting. This is called implied motivation. In that situation with the boy, his reasons are shown indirectly through patterns of behavior. The author shows us rather than tells us. We have to use his quiet kindness to infer that, say, deep compassion is driving him. Or maybe we use clues from earlier in the story to guess that the memory of a past pet is pushing him to give back.
Let's jump into section 4, navigating mixed motivations. Now, things get even more interesting, and definitely a bit more complicated when characters are driven by more than one desire at the exact same time. Real people are complicated, and well-written characters should be too.
Check out this example. A general makes a major choice to lead his troops into war. On the one hand, he's driven by a noble, stated desire to defend his country. But through his actions and body language behind closed doors, we realize he's also seeking personal glory. He wants his name in the history books.
These mixed motivations can clash dramatically. You've got honorable values like honesty or patriotism on one side, battling against selfish desires like blind ambition or fear on the other. You've probably felt this yourself, right? Wanting to do the right thing, but also kind of wanting to fit in with your friends. When a character has a mixed motivation, it creates intense inner conflict.
And this conflict drives the plot in exciting directions, constantly making us wonder which motivation is actually going to win out in the end. That brings us to Section 5, Reading People and Characters. Now, analyzing motivation is not merely some academic exercise to help you pass a literature test. It is an absolutely essential real-life skill.
This is why this matters for you, right now, way outside the classroom walls. Understanding motivation builds true empathy. When you recognize that the actions of your friends, your family, or your classmates stem from their own hidden hopes, fears, and past experiences, you can respond to them with genuine grace. If someone is acting out, maybe it's not because they're just a mean person, but because they're acting out of fear or a difficult past experience. Understanding the why totally changes how we treat each other.
So, to practice building this critical skill, here are your 5 homework tasks to complete using your current reading assignment. Number 1, identify your character's main motivation. Number 2, find a direct quote showing a stated motivation. Number 3, find a detail showing implied motivation. Number 4, explain why this motivation matters to the plot. And number 5, be a detective and predict their next actions based on what you've found. I know you guys can absolutely do this.
Finally, Section 6, the Godly Learner Philosophy. Let's wrap up our lesson today by zooming out and focusing on exactly why we study these deeply human concepts here at HeroesMart Academy.
Here at HeroesMart, we intentionally intertwine biblical morality with your education because, frankly, education without morality can hurt. Our goal is that your knowledge and intelligence shouldn't just make you a more capable person. Instead, they absolutely must help you make wise, God-honoring choices in your everyday life.
Romans 8, 6, and 7 teaches us that keeping the mind spiritually minded leads to life and peace. As you pursue academic excellence and as you learn to brilliantly analyze the motives of others, I really want to encourage you. Keep your own mind centered on God, truth, wisdom, and righteous choices. How will your underlying motivations shape the story of your own life? Think about it. Have a great day, class.